Welcome to Dogsplainin, where we break down what your dog is really trying to tell you. I'm Dana, a canine coach and holistic wellness specialist focused on nutrition, energy work, and essential oils. I'm on a mission for your dog to eat better, feel better, and live longer.
And I'm Angela. I'm your 456 wellness and behavior coach, focusing on helping you understand the connection between 4 paws, 5 elements, and 6 fun tricks.
We're here to help you connect the dots behavior, food, health, and everything in between with honest conversations and straight talking guidance.
If you're ready to get past the noise and actually understand what your dog needs you to know, you're in the right place. Now here's today's Dogsplainin episode. Oh, that was supposed to be both of us.
That's all right.
We'll re-record it.
It'll be fun. So today we have our first guest, and we're so excited about having Rae Thompson with us. Welcome, Rae. You and I met. I was looking at a Facebook post. You know how memories pop up, and that little nugget of a dog that you called me about 9 years ago was this time of year. It was like last week or this week, and I got a little pop up of that little puppy, and that was the first time I met you, Angela, when we met to do handoff at that gas station restaurant.
Oh my gosh,
thing.
Prince.
Yes.
His name was Prince. Yep.
Yeah, cute little thing. So anyway, Rae is a insurance specialist with State Farm. I'll let you give your formal title, but we're going to talk today about pet insurance. And I did not know that State Farm has pet insurance, and I'm a State Farm customer. So Rae, welcome. Please introduce yourself and we'll get things rolling.
Thank you. So, yes, I am a licensed insurance professional. I work with the Amanda Haygood State Farm team, and I am licensed in all lines, including pet insurance. We work with Trupanion is our pet insurance provider. So I can definitely kind of dive into why we chose Trupanion, why State Farm chose to use Trupanion. A lot of it is their satisfactory scores. They are very, very quick on their customer service side and payout side. They were founded back in 2000. So they've been in operation for many years in the pet industry. So they have a really, really good solid foundation, which was one of the reasons State Farm wanted to partner with Trupanion and be able to offer State Farm clients the opportunity to secure some very important coverage that can do a whole lot for you as pet parents. So
awesome.
And there's an alternative medicine option to add to your policy, which was exciting.
Well, I need to know more about that, right? I personally have never purchased pet insurance, even when I had the big Great Danes and multiples of them. I never had that on the to-do list, really. And I had a couple of them, even Fosters and all, bloat and all the things that came with that. So I think a lot of people look at it for the catastrophic side of things. Like you just had a big incident in your own household with your dog. You may tell people about that and how that might have been covered for the pet parent.
Yeah. So pet insurance, the coverage that we offer through Trupanion is to avoid having large losses that you have to pay out of pocket. A lot of people, when we're talking about pet insurance, I like to ask the question of like, well, what are you comfortably willing to invest in a situation where your dog eats a sock or tears their ACL, which happens quite a bit? You know, are you going to be comfortable spending thousands, 5, 6, 7, 8,000, which is a very realistic number.
I know somebody last week that said they spent $25,000 on their dog's health in the last month.
Yeah, well, that is a large number. That's a car.
I know.
That is big, and it's very hard to put a dollar amount on the value of what these animals bring to our lives. So pet insurance takes that financial burden off of you. So one of the beautiful things about Trupanion is they are breed inclusive. There's no exclusions for any sort of breed through Trupanion. That was another reason why State Farm chose that. We are also a non-breed restrictive insurance company. So that was a big one for us. And it allows the client to choose their deductible and say, okay, well, I'm willing to invest a certain amount in my dog's catastrophic event that could possibly happen. And then State Farm Trupanion takes about 90% of the costs away from the client. So it can be invaluable when you're facing a sudden situation that you weren't necessarily prepared for. And I think statistics show, if my research and everything is correct, that was done in 2015, about 66% of pet parents report that they've had some sort of catastrophic event where they've had to spend upwards of $3,000 on a pet very unexpectedly. And that can be a big financial burden.
I bet today that number's even more because the cost of veterinary care skyrocketed in the last few years.
Yes.
Sure.
And this, I do like to preface that these are designed for these unforeseen events. This is not a wellness plan. It doesn't cover normal exam fees or vaccinations or anything. I know that there's options out there that pet parents can look into for those, but the Trupanion plan is for those oh my gosh moments where you're looking at trying to save your pet's life and knowing that you can, but not having to worry about how that's going to impact your daily operations. Budget is so important for all of us these days with everything.
So. Everybody has a budget, some greater than others, but we all have a budget. So yeah. Is there anything that it would not include? And secondly, the other question on my brain right now is, given that Angela and I do so much with natural wellness and maybe don't do things like all the quote unquote core vaccines, would that inhibit coverage from the insurance?
Good questions. I did a little research. It does not. As far as you do not have to have the traditional vaccinations for the coverage to be applied. The exclusions would be pre-existing conditions. So that brings me to the point that the sooner you get this insurance on your pet, the better coverage you're going to have because there's no exclusions. When the pet is of a younger age, we say that the sweet spot is between 1 and 3. Even earlier, 1, you're locking in rates that are lower. The rates are based on age and location of the pet. And then Trupanion does not have any set structure where it increases every year at your pet's birthday. That does not happen with Trupanion. So the sooner you get them in, the less exclusions that you have for pre-existing conditions, obviously, and also the more cost-effective long-term that the plan is going to be. There is a rider that goes along with what you and Angela do. It's a recovery and complementary care rider. Just to go over a few of those things, it's rehabilitative therapy, acupuncture, hydrotherapy, chiropractic treatment, behavioral modifications, homeopathy, and neuropathy. All of those are covered underneath this rider so that your pet can have a really well-balanced care plan. Let's say if they do tear their ACL and need not only the surgery that can be covered, but then also any rehabilitative therapy afterwards also can be covered with that rider. And all the client's going to pay is their deductible, which is an option that you get to choose when you are working with Trupanion.
So a couple of questions. My dog blew out her CCL, the second one. The first was before she was 6 months old. She blew her other back leg 2 years ago spring. So 2 years ago around this time. We opted not to have surgery and went straight into rehab. Would it have covered the rehab without the veterinary care? Even though,
yes.
He was a veterinary rehabist or whatever the term might be, rehabber. But we did not do surgical, right? So my question is, would it have covered the rehab without the surgery?
Yes, the way that the policy is designed, it's to provide recovery care. So even if there wasn't a surgery involved, it was still recovery care from the injury. So that would have been covered if you'd gotten it on the pet prior to
Dang
it
it.
happening. Yeah,
I spend
no,
a lot of money just on
yeah,
rehab.
exactly. I mean, again, I can't preface, the earlier the better. And that's a great example. How are you supposed to be able to know that within 6 months you could have had that? Then it's a pre-existing condition.
Right.
To touch base on that event too, one of the beautiful things about Trupanion is these deductibles are per situational occurrence. So hypothetically, if you got the policy on the puppy when they were 3 months, they had a ACL tear at 6, you're going to pay the deductible for that ACL tear at 6 months. If they happen to do it a whole other year later, you've already paid your deductible for that ACL. You're not paying another deductible if they tear another ACL. So again, these plans are invaluable when
Wow.
they come to those situations that could possibly occur again, because it is another example is allergies. I know
Oh,
that
they're
is a hot
huge right
topic
now.
sometimes, but that's the same thing too. If you have an event where there's a severe allergic reaction, you pay your deductible. If they have another one 8 months later, a year later, 2 years ago, you've already paid the deductible for that event. You don't have to repay the deductible for the same scenario happening.
So to be clear, even though it was a different ACL, different leg, it's still part of the same. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I dug into this so that I could make sure, and I was very impressed with that. I'm thinking about all the instances that I know of owners that have had multiple unfortunate
Sure.
events with that.
Because they
So yeah,
generally say if you blow one, the likelihood of the other is significantly increased.
Yep.
So you mentioned things like homeopathy and nutrition, a couple of things that fall in my wheelhouse and Angela now. But we're not veterinarians. So how does that work, or does it?
so the only one of those parts of the rider that has any sort of licensing requirement would be the behavioral modification. They do specify that that has to be performed by a licensed behavioralist, but the other ones are just who can do it. You send it in. I'm sure there could be some back and forth. This is also a case where the good thing about working with a State Farm agent is that you do get a person on the other end of the phone, me, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we have the opportunity to present some of these situations to our underwriters in the back that make all these rules. So that's definitely a question that I could address individually, but from everything that I'm looking at, it does not have to be from someone that's got a veterinarian practice. Just that behavioral modification would need to be from someone that's
Yeah,
licensed
that
in
would
that
be
area.
awesome. I'd love to know more about that because when I think about a behaviorist, like a veterinary behaviorist, my experience and the clients that have come to me after their experience is that they sat down, had a conversation with somebody for a couple of hours, got a document, and sent on their merry way. It was not the depth of work that Angela and I do to not only add the training piece, but to really tap into the emotion or the trauma or the how nutrition affects their behavior and all of those kinds of things, or what the pet parent may be doing that's contributing. There's a whole host of things that we as behavior experts bring into the training program or into the nutrition program, even that we don't qualify as the veterinary behaviorist. Sorry, I do this a lot lately. But it would be curious to know if that can be somehow figured out.
You'll have to bring me back for a part two,
I
little
will,
insert on that. I'll dig a
definitely.
little deeper there and find out, because that's the only one I saw, and it wasn't even a vet. It just said licensed behavioralist, so it wasn't. So I don't know.
Well, I can
I'll
say
dig.
certified. I don't hold like a
License.
state license or anything like
Yeah,
that.
I can definitely dig in a little bit on those to
Yeah,
find out for
that'd be
sure.
great. All right.
Yep.
What else do we need to know about pet insurance?
Oh my goodness. I think one of the other bonuses that I really love about the Trupanion is there's also pet owner assistance. This is to help with boarding fees if your dog has to be boarded overnight for medical reasons, which is something that I faced with my recent event with my dog Blue eating a foreign object that he should not have, was that due to the severity of the situation and the surgery, he did have to be hospitalized twice overnight. And for anyone that has not done that, that is a hefty little bill that you get from those overnight care places. So there's also coverage that can help with that. It can also help if you're a renter and unfortunately your dog may damage the property that you're renting. There's some additional protection that can be offered there, which is always a bonus if you were a renter. So that's something we could discuss there. But yeah, those were the two other ones outside of that care rider that I saw. But again, they cover wheelchairs and carts if you need it for support. Medications and supplements are covered. Diagnostic testing is covered. So there's a lot of very inclusive coverage here from Trupanion that is priceless if you do face a situation.
That's kind of amazing. I mean, the supplement cost can be pretty significant. So I'm guessing the concept here is dog goes to the veterinarian and gets a diagnosis of something like pancreatitis or diabetes or whatever. And then can the pet parent sort of figure out with somebody like us what the supplement strategy ought to be, and then those supplements are covered? Is that kind of how it works?
Yep. There's no restrictions on who you use. There's some restrictions if you want Trupanion to pay the pet directly, then there is a network that we pay directly, but that's the limitation there. You can use any veterinarian service that you want. Sometimes we have to reimburse you and then you reimburse the vet. And then the other great thing about Trupanion too is there aren't any caps. Some pet insurance plans will have like a limit, like they're only going to pay up to a certain amount for the event. Trupanion does not have any caps. So your surgery for your pet might cost $5,000. That's what we're going to pay. Somebody else's pet might be a $10,000 surgery, and that's what we're going to pay. Because of the way that Trupanion is structured, that's how they look at it. They go, okay, well, we might have a very lucky pet, aka the pet that's insured, that maybe uses the policy once. And then we have pets that are considered unlucky, which may use the policy 4 to 5 times. But they're all priced the same, so that it's kind of like a pet parent helping other pet parents. They pull all of the money that we're getting from everybody in there to make sure everybody can be appropriately reimbursed for the events that happen in their area.
Does it cover things like diabetes and pancreatitis and cancer, or just those real catastrophic injury things?
Those would be covered as long as they weren't pre-existing before the coverage was in place. So that goes back to the earlier the better, and I can and have placed insurance on puppies that are 10, 11 weeks old somehow. They don't blink an eye. So but yes, those would be considered illnesses. They're covered.
What about proactive surgeries like spay and neuter? Does it cover that?
So those are optional underneath another rider that they have, where they do give a little bit of funding to those. And there's a whole other rider for breeders, which I didn't get into, but there's a whole other rider there that goes over a whole bunch of other situations that are covered. But yes, underneath one of the, I think it's the care, there's some reimbursement. Like I think they pay a flat amount based on your zip code area for those preventative things such as the spay and neuter, but there's no coverage for vaccinations or exam fees or just wellness checks or anything like that. So diagnostic testing is included in what we cover, but like if you just go and have your pet looked at and an exam, and let's say like you're worried about something and you go and you have the pet looked at and it turns out that you were just being a big worrywart, there's really nothing wrong. Those sorts of exam fees are not covered, and that just helps keep Trupanion's costs minimal so that they're not just paying out for basically worrywart visits where there's really nothing going on, but someone just being a little more concerned than they need to be.
Is it an addendum per pet, or is the household covered?
It is per pet because it is based on the age of the pet at the time the coverage is placed. So it
Okay.
is per pet. You can have multiple pets on the same policy, obviously, but it is per pet. And there is a little bit of discounting structure that goes into it. I've worked with homes that have had 3 or 4, and I have found that there is a little bit, just like with most things, when you put things all in one bucket and you bundle them together, so you put all the pets
Mm-hmm.
on one plan, there is a little bit of cost savings for the multiple pets, but it is per pet is the rating.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Angela, do you have any questions?
I just want to know why I didn't do this 5 years ago.
I know, right?
Right? Like
It would have covered the rehab for Poppy's knee and for Huey with
yeah.
his, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
I feel like probably Gouda's kidney issues, because it came on abruptly and acutely, like probably would have been covered.
mm-hmm.
Even though
Yeah.
it's old age related, it was still an acute illness.
Right.
So kidney disease is actually listed on my commonly claimed conditions are kidney disease, ingestion of foreign materials. So now we have 2 in this: diabetes, allergies, ACL, CCL repairs, and then also just vomiting and diarrhea is that last one on this list. But those are the most covered
Mm-hmm.
situations that Trupanion has paid out.
Yeah. And
So
I
Wow.
guarantee I would have never in 10 years paid as much in premiums as I have spent in the last 6 months.
I know. So that's a good question. I know everybody's quote would be different, but is there a range of consideration?
oh, I did a little bit of research on this, expecting this question. So I can tell you again, the sooner the better. A age range between 1 and 3 for a male dog is like less than $30 a month. So do the math there. And then for a female, they are a little bit more, around the $40 mark for females between the 1 to 3. I just did a fun little quote on I did a 3-month-old puppy boy, not neutered yet, and then it came back at like $18 a month when I did it earlier.
Wow.
Um, a comparison would be my dog Blue at this point, who is in his 8th or 9th year of life. He is well over $200 a month to insure because of his age. So that gives you that broad spectrum there, that the sooner you are thinking about this, the better. Um, because you do get locked into that lower rate when they're younger. So pretty cost
Define
effective.
locked in.
So typically I've had one lady that's been insured for 7 years now, and her rate has gone up like one time, and it was a $5 jump per month. And that was it over the course of that. So that's just some historical data that I have on that. Don't really have anything else,
So the
but
rate is based on the starting age, not necessarily their age over time.
correct. A lot of plans, they'll have it where, like, when your pet has their birthday,
Uh-huh.
your rate will change because they're older.
Mm-hmm.
Trupanion does not do that. Again, they're looking at a combined resource pool, so they're not going to start charging you more because of your pet's age. What you could see is a rate change that could be contributed to a rise of veterinarian costs in general for your area, perhaps, that they
Mm-hmm.
get a hold of. But not due to your pet's age. So
That's what I had no idea. That's pretty awesome. Um, so is there more on your list that we're not even smart enough to ask about yet? Because
no, no, I
my
think you
mind is
guys have
going,
done a
woo,
good
I had
job
no idea
there.
of
No,
all of
you guys have
this.
asked some really good questions, especially about what is covered, because that's always, I mean, well, what am I going to get? You know, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm investing this amount every month, I do expect some sort of return from this investment. And I can't think of a unforeseen circumstance that would not be covered by a Trupanion plan. And the biggest thing is if the event does unfortunately end up being one of the more catastrophic ones, there's no cap, which is a big thing. Um, uh, and again, the likelihood, I think, I mean, we're a very small percentage here, the 3 of us, but the likelihood of a pet parent having some sort of event like this is really high. And I'll
Well, I
end,
had the
you know,
CCL, you had the foreign body, and Angela's got the kidney. So we're the norm. And
yes,
look how holistic all of us are, right? I mean, we're
yeah.
all going to deal with something at some point, right?
Yes, and having the security of knowing that you don't have to I don't know, dig into your savings. Or what we do unfortunately see, and I'm sure you guys have faced this as well, is like the family just not having that financial resource to do what they really want to. This is how a little bit of investment up front can make sure that they don't have to make that really hard decision later on of not possibly being able to do everything they could
Yeah, I
for their
see
fur
those
kid.
posts in different Facebook groups every single day.
Yeah.
Every day.
I
So
remember working, in the rescue, the pleas that we would get from individuals that wanted to keep their pet very, very much, but they couldn't financially afford to do what was needed, and they would be reaching out. So it's definitely something that many pet parents face.
yeah, that's
Oh,
another topic, Angela, we should write down and come back, the three of us together, because I'd love to have a conversation on the creativity of how, even if it's a nonprofit we start or something, to help the pet parent to not have to give up their dog, right? That has always been on my mind. It's like your dog gets sick and you think, I can't afford the things, so I'm going to give them to the rescue who can. But now that's a double loss in my head, right? In my heart. And so I'd love to find a way to at least offer some level of help to people who are in trouble.
well, when Rae and I were both on the board for Merit Pit Bull Foundation, we did create a program that was specifically to help pet owners to,
Can we revisit that in some way and
yeah,
restart
of
it?
course.
I was so funny because I was like, we identified that that was a need as well, and we were definitely trying to do something about that because it does happen all too often. So
Yeah.
hopefully, this podcast is going to reach a few people that are like, I should go get pet insurance
Yeah.
because yes, that is how you can help yourself.
Well, speaking of that, how can they reach you? What states are you licensed in? How can you help them?
So I am licensed in North Carolina, Virginia, and South Carolina. So I've got those three states. I'll verbalize my email. It's the best way to reach me. Which is going to be my first name, Rae, Rae, and that's at myagentamanda.com. You guys can put that somewhere as well, but that's the best way to reach out to me. You can also Google my agent, Amanda Haygood, State Farm, find our telephone number, give us a call, 919-834-3615. Ask for me. I'm happy to assist. Any of my team members are also willing and able to, but if you'd want to have a better conversation, just a little bit more in depth, then just ask for me and let them know how you found me.
Yeah. So if you'll shoot that email over to me and your phone number, because I did not write it down,
All good.
I will make sure that goes into the podcast itself in text, and then in the video that's showing here, it'll pop up, it'll flash up.
And if you're already like you, Dana, if you're already a State Farm client, I encourage you to reach out to your agent first. Some agents are not licensed in the pet insurance realm. So if they're not, then you can definitely come to me. But I do encourage everyone that already has a State Farm agent, utilize that resource first, call them, ask them if they're able to help you with it.
Yeah, mine just
So
collects the check every month or year or whatever it is, and I never hear from them. So that
yeah,
doesn't make me happy, but that's the way it's working.
yeah. Some of them are very
I
different, and
know.
again, not all of them have it. But I would encourage you to at least try, because that's just a courtesy that I'll extend. But at the end of the day, I'm happy to help anyone that needs
Yeah,
a
I
conversation
appreciate it.
about
So
it.
you said North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia.
Correct.
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
did think of another question, Rae. Um, Going back to the rocks and the owner assistance, I know we've definitely had the situation arise where someone needs to put their dog to sleep and just can't afford it. Is the cost of euthanasia and cremation included?
Yes, there is a rider that is part of the pet owner assistant package. There's a set amount that can be provided to help in cremation and burial fees. Yes.
Excellent.
Okay. Anything else? I think all of my questions are answered, which is more than I mean, I expected them to be answered, but they were answered in a way that was beyond my expectation. It's
I think
like,
it's really surprising what this
yeah,
package does for you. I know I was, as a pet parent of many, many years coming into the industry, I was very kind of shocked and don't do what I do, which is forget to do it because it can save you thousands.
mhm. Is it different, Ray, if they if they add it on to like a State Farm account, meaning they're a State Farm customer and they add on Trupanion, than if they went and bought Trupanion separately? Does that differ? Do you know?
No, there isn't any pricing difference there. It's just basically, and the same thing too. We do have to be very clear when we write the policy that you are paying to Trupanion. You're not paying it inclusive to your other State Farm bills.
Yeah,
The biggest part is just that we have the ability to. You already know who we are.
sure.
Those
No,
are
I see
the
the
advantages.
advantage of the
Yeah.
bundle, but I just
For
wasn't sure
pets.
about that.
Yeah, there's no we call that multi-line discounting in our industry. Nothing there per se. It's going to be the same amount that you would pay if you went onto the Trupanion site and did it. The difference would be during a claim situation where we could assist and help and connect you with Trupanion. But again, Trupanion says, and I believe this because I've had people have claims, they normally resolve claims and pay out claims, no joke, within like 5 to 10 minutes on the phone
Minutes?
with these
Wow.
clients. You basically call them up, you tell them what's happening, you send them the invoice, and if your vet is on that direct network, they immediately have a payment like while you're there, so that all you're having to pay to the vet to take your animal home with you is your deductible at that point. So, I mean, again, just outstanding customer care and service from their side, which is again the reason that State Farm said, why reinvent the wheel? We're just going to partner with someone that's already
Mhm.
doing it really, really well.
And that's a huge stress reliever when you're in the throes of it, right?
Yes.
So that's pretty awesome. All right. Well, unless there's anything else, I will say thank you for attending. And I think we have at least 2 follow-up phone calls we need to do. So thank you for coming, and we appreciate your time.
It's been a blast. Thank you.
Thanks, Rae. Thanks for listening to Dogsplainin. We know you've got a lot of choices when it comes to dog advice. We appreciate you trusting us to keep it honest and helpful.
If today's episode helped you understand your dog's needs more clearly, share it with someone who may also need to hear it. And don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
For more resources, visit us online or join the conversation in our community. We'll be back soon with more insight into your dog's behavior, health, and wellness. Questions welcome, and we love guests.
Until then, keep listening to Dogsplainin.